Hey guys, welcome back to part two of our two-part series of interviews with global business leaders. We are here with Ms. Vanessa Abernethy, the chairman of the New Zealand Business Council UAE. In case you missed part one, though, I would strongly recommend that you view that part first. Let me do a quick recap on what was discussed. In part one, Vanessa told us about their tagline, proudly Kiwi in nature, nurturing business through connections, and about your mission in the UAE. We spoke about the 7 sectors that have been identified to boost economic cooperation between UAE and New Zealand. We discussed the challenges of meeting the objectives of the Paris Agreement and the Glasgow Climate Pact. And we relived the chaos and negative economic impact caused by the global pandemic back in 2020. Now, tell us, Vanessa, you are a holder of the coveted UAE Golden Visa. The UAE introduced this Golden Visa back in 2019 with the main purpose of attracting and retaining professionals with exceptional talent within the region. Then in came the pandemic, which reset most global economies. Since then, there have been significant changes to this visa with regard to the eligibility criteria, and there is now a certain level of flexibility. Tell us more about this visa, and for an applicant who is a member of the New Zealand Business Council UAE, how can he assist with the application?
Sure. So yes, I received the Golden Visa. I was fortunate to get it in November 2021. So that now means that myself and my family have 10-year residency in the UAE. So under a regular residency situation in the UAE, your residency is linked to your employment. So the moment your employment ends, you have what was about 30 days to exit the country. And that was a problem, particularly during the pandemic. It came to light, people were losing jobs all over the place. Borders were closed. It wasn't always easy for people to leave the country at short notice, and the government had to respond with some new regulations, new labour regulations to assist with that. So the benefit of the Golden Visa is that anyone who has it doesn't need their residency linked to any employment. So you can stay in the UAE on the basis that you either have significant investments in the UAE or on the basis that you're a high income earner or contributing significant value with a special talent. So those used to be relatively difficult to get. And then the government has been opening up more recently and allowing a wider group to get the Golden Visa, which is really pleasing to see. So it's basically embracing long-term expats rather than just the idea that you come to work and you leave when you're done. So there's 2 categories or 2 timeframes. You can get 5-year Golden Visas and 10-year Golden Visas. And what we saw was one of the easiest categories, or the categories that I have seen most people qualifying under more recently since the regulations changed, was simply being in senior management roles. So anybody with a salary above a certain amount that's in a management position has been able to get a visa now for some time. So we at the Business Council know people who have got the visas, and to that extent would know roughly what the criteria are and roughly what the procedures are to get them. But we are not experts in the Golden Visa. So the benefit that we would give is that we firstly would be able to connect them with someone that's got one before, and that person would be able to explain what it is that they did, or more importantly, or probably the easier route, is to connect them with a PRO, a public relations officer, that we know is in the business of getting people these visas. We know a number of companies that do get these visas and process them for people. So again, it comes down to those connections that we have in our tagline. So any of our members that were interested, we would be able to connect them with somebody that could help them to get the visa if they qualified.
Right. It's interesting you mentioned the 5-year Golden Visa and the 10-year Golden Visa. Can you maybe just highlight to us what would be the difference apart from the obvious 5 years and 10 years?
So it comes down to the level of the basis upon which you're getting the visa. So people who have invested significant amounts into the UAE or are in executive director level, very senior roles, get the 10-year visa. And then there's a 5-year visa for people that maybe own an apartment and have, just a couple of million tied up in real estate, or a couple of million in a bank account here. There's a lower category or a lower period of time for those ones. So obviously most people would, people would rather have the 10-year one, but even the 5-year one is a benefit if you can get it. The cost of them is not expensive as long as you meet the criteria.
Great. Now, let's talk about your members. Who exactly are your members, and what would be the benefits of taking up a membership with the New Zealand Business Council UAE?
So we have quite a diverse membership. We have some 75 members, some in running serious businesses here in the UAE. So we have some companies that are running New Zealand businesses here in the UAE. We have others that are New Zealanders that have set up their own businesses here in the UAE that are not New Zealand businesses. Dubai Physiotherapy is an example of that. That's owned and run by a New Zealander, and they're a member of the New Zealand Business Council. Raw Cafe is another one. Raw Cafe is a New Zealand coffee shop that does the most amazing coffee and roasts their own beans. They're truly passionate about coffee. That's run by a couple of New Zealanders and owned by a couple of New Zealanders as well. But apart from that, we also have members, individuals who are in senior management roles but work for, the government, sort of family offices here, or might work for an American company based here, might be a pilot with Emirates, sort of a very broad spectrum. And so that means that when we're making these connections, we almost will always know of someone in the industry. I mean, not that long ago, we had someone arrive from New Zealand who said, I want to live in the UAE and I'm looking for a job. And he came along to one of our events that we were doing, and we've been able to connect that person into businesses that may potentially be looking to hire somebody with his credentials. And that's the type of thing that we do on a regular basis. Those who have been here a while tend to know people across most industries.
That's amazing. Now, can you give us a real world example of a certain member's business that was maybe badly affected by the pandemic, and how their membership with the New Zealand Business Council UAE was a saving grace for them?
Sure. I'm not sure I want to mention names, but we had a couple of people, couple of businesses in sort of the retail space or in businesses that where people are no longer able to turn up at the shop, and those businesses very, very, I think very successfully, and the ones I had in mind, managed to pivot during the pandemic into online sales. And so we at the New Zealand Business Council also had to pivot. We could no longer have face-to-face events. So we were showcasing companies throughout the pandemic in online sessions where our members were invited to attend a session where a business would discuss what they'd done to change their business model. And I believe actually in some respects the pandemic ended up beneficial, because some of those businesses today are still now heavily reliant on their online platforms, even though they're now able to go back to their physical face-to-face business. So being forced to add a way of doing business has improved their business today, for sure. But we made sure everyone stayed connected. We made sure we were having regular online panel sessions and events throughout the pandemic.
Good to know. Now, should somebody want to sign up for a membership with you, how can an entrepreneur or a business reach out to you for a membership? I understand the procedure is pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, it's not difficult to find us. Our website is www.nzbc.me. When you go into that website, there's a button to click for joining in the membership, and you'll be asked a series of questions. We're essentially wanting to check. We want to know a bit about your business and what it is you do. We are a business council, not a social group, but we also want to check your connection to New Zealand. So whether are you a New Zealand citizen? Are you working for a New Zealand business? Do you want to conduct business down in New Zealand? We ask a series of questions, and then we have a membership coordinator whose role it is to go through all those applications, screen them, and make sure that the people that are meeting the qualifications for membership are approved. The membership is paid, and then you're on board. From then on, it's just annual renewals, and it's not a high cost to join. So yeah, I urge people, I guess, just to go to our website and click on the link. And it's all electronic.
I believe if somebody were to come to UAE for maybe 2 years or 3 years, it would make more sense for them to sign up for a 2-year or a 3-year membership instead of renewing for every year.
Yeah, our memberships unfortunately are only annual, but yes, obviously most people renew. So we have members that have been with us for since we were established in
Right.
2019 and renew year on year. It's easy. The renewal's easy. You get sent a link by email. Once again, you just put your credit card in, and it's done. So yeah, the year
Great.
on year memberships at the moment.
Right. Now, Vanessa, do you have any final words to share with all the entrepreneurs in New Zealand and the Emirates, as well as the global business community?
I guess the one thing I would say is that I think people shouldn't undervalue the benefits that any New Zealand Business Council, including the New Zealand Business Council, brings. Our membership is not expensive. I think we start at 500 dirhams for an entire year's membership, and that gets you access to some of our premium events that members only are allowed to attend. We have other events that everyone's allowed to attend, but that the members pay a reduced rate. So I believe you get your money back fairly quickly on a membership. The connections that we're able to make for people, I think, is where the value lies. So we have an online database that's fully visible to our members. So you get to showcase your business online. So if someone suddenly says, I'm looking for someone in the food technology space, then they can go onto our website and do a search and see, are there any New Zealanders that are in this space that I might be able to connect with, and all the contact details are there. So there's definitely mileage in it. We put out videos from time to time of our members where we interview them and they get to talk about their business, and that goes all over our social media and out on our email. And I really urge people, I guess, to join anybody who's in business. I think should be a member of a business council, whether it's us or another one. And I guess that's what I'd impress on everybody.
Vanessa, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I think you have explained really well the importance of the NZBC and why anybody who's actually moving into a UAE, even if they're not from New Zealand, they should look into this.
Thank you again for having me.
Worries. Now, that was Vanessa, the chairman of the New Zealand Business Council, UAE. If you are from New Zealand and intend to venture into the UAE to set up your business, now is the time to contact the New Zealand Business Council, UAE. Contact details are shown below this video. For more information, you can visit their website at nzbc.me. That's nzbc.me. As always, thank you for watching, and remember to hit that subscribe button to watch more interviews with the movers and shakers of the business world. Till the next time, stay focused, stay positive, stay safe. I'll see you soon on The Chamber Guy.